Well, I am more than a year late with this, but it's time to talk about Joymasher again. This time with Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. They made a great game once again, but this time there are some unfortunate flaws that hold it back. All in due time though, let's start with the premise. The game takes place in a fictional country called Penrai, ruled with an iron fist by the Commission. To safeguard their power and suppress any sort of rebellion, they utilize a group of powerful cyborgs called the Guardians. However, one of the Guardians, Moonrider, undergoes some sort of error during a calibration session, wakes up to justice so to speak, and begins his crusade to liberate the people of Penrai. Before you start the game proper, you can get acquainted with the game's controls by playing the very familiar looking tutorial. If you've played Shinobi 3 on Sega Mega Drive, controlling Moonrider will feel pretty familiar as well. He can do a sprinting dash, followed by a powerful dash attack, do triangle jumps between walls, grab onto and move along horizontal ropes and so on, you get the idea. Unlike Shinobi 3, Moonrider also has a proper free hit combo with his plasma blade, like Zero from Mega Man X4 onward, and can attack while walking. Finally, he gets a special attack that deals a lot of damage and pierces shields. Overall, the controls are very smooth. The game reads your inputs perfectly, so Moonrider is a joy to control. I do have some minor gripes here though. They have brought back the weird issue with dashing from Adalus, where dash jumps completely lose momentum if you let go of a dash button mid-jump. You can avoid this issue by double tapping forward to dash, but I don't really like doing that in 2D platformers, and I'm glad they allowed me to turn that off completely. I also don't like how Moonrider grabs onto ropes automatically without any input from the player. There were moments where I wanted to simply jump down, but Moonrider grabbed onto a wire and got damaged as a result. It messed me up more times than I would like to admit. Granted, these aren't serious issues, but you should keep them in mind while playing. Once you're done with the tutorial, it's time to start the game proper with the intro stage, which already expects you to be familiar with the things you learn in the tutorial, because you will have to use that knowledge from the get-go. It does introduce other aspects of the game though. You'll get to see different enemy types, some of which are easy to deal with, but others require some more thought. Like these shield soldiers who block your normal attacks, so you'll have to either wait for them to open themselves up, or spend some energy to use a special attack. Intro stage also introduces the exploration element by making you choose between branching paths, one of which has an upgrade chip for you to find. You will find chips like this throughout other stages as well. You can also try them as soon as you get them too, which is pretty cool. The one you get here allows you to slowly regenerate energy for special attacks, but there is a nice variety of things these chips can do, like making your plasma blade longer or even giving you a double jump, which are my personal favorites. Once you beat the intro stage, you will be able to choose between 6 other stages with another Guardian waiting in each of them. Before you start, Moonrider will tell you why you're going there and which Guardian you will be fighting at the end. Beat the boss, and you get their special attack. Yes, the game basically turns into Mega Man. And just like in Mega Man, choosing the right tool for the job plays a huge part in gameplay, because every enemy and boss is weak to a certain attack. The catch is that in Moonrider, this extends not just to your special weapons, but also to your default arsenal. For example, the sniper here requires 3 strikes from your plasma blade to kill. But you can speed things up by taking him out with a single dive kick. The game also features a ranking system that grades you based on your score and how much time it took to beat a stage, so it actively encourages you to go fast. I am usually not really partial to speedrunning, but I did enjoy trying to go through the stages as fast as I could here. When you pull it off really well, you might even regret not having recorded it. There are sections that require you to slow down, but they are mostly used to balance out the constant forward movement. Mostly. I also really like the game aesthetically. Moonrider still uses the same muted color palette as Blazing Chrome, which I'm not really a fan of, but overall sprite work here is stellar. Every character and enemy is well designed and nice to look at. Oh, and the way they jib when you dispatch them with a strong attack? Mwah! Perfect. Joymasher even managed to sneak in some of more visceral designs similar to the ones they had in Odalus, which I am always glad to see. Stages all vary thematically, and most of them look good as well, muted color palette notwithstanding. And you bet there's a stage that turns into an HR Giger funhouse as per Joymasher tradition. With music they decided to go with electronic style mixed with traditional Japanese instruments, and it sounds great for the most part. There are a few tracks that I don't really care for, but most of them are really good. What's especially cool is that every single boss, except for this guy, gets their own theme song. The game also features tons of references, mostly to Mega Man. We have already seen the tutorial, but then you get this warning siren that appears before every mid-boss and end-boss encounter. Photon Drifter over here clearly thinks he's Slash Beast or something. The bike sections remind me of the only Good Ride Chaser stage in existence, and so on. The game is incredibly fun to play, but regrettably, there are some serious issues that hold it back, at least for me personally. The game doesn't display which special attack is currently selected in any way. Moonrider doesn't change color except for when you use a special chip to do so, and there is no corresponding icon on the UI. You just have to remember what you have selected at the moment, and I am not good at remembering things, so when I need a certain attack, I usually double check if I have it selected or not. On a minor note, I wish you could also change special attacks by tilting the right analog stick like you can do in Mega Man 11, but oh well. Another issue I have is that two of the special attacks, namely Storm Shot and Dark Portal, are functionally the same. The difference here is that while Dark Portal consumes a lot more energy, it also covers the whole screen a lot faster and deals a lot more damage. As for Storm Shot itself, I never actually found any use for it. I don't think it can do anything that other attacks can't do better, so it becomes obsolete as soon as you get it. The game is also pretty easy overall, which is what disappointed me the most. As much as it is fun to blaze through the stages really fast, I wish it offered more of a challenge. As long as you're paying attention, dying isn't really a problem. The enemies don't drop healing or energy pickups, but you will still find them pretty frequently, so even if you take a lot of damage, you will still recover most of it. Lack of difficulty extends to the bosses as well. If you take a bit of time to observe their patterns, you will probably beat them with no issues. Special attacks only exacerbate this problem. Look how fast I'm shredding poor Hydromancer here. Even the final boss is so pathetically easy that you will probably beat his second phase without taking any damage on your first or second try. Upgrade chips contribute to overall lack of difficulty too. You are limited to just 2 slots, so you cannot give yourself an outright god mode, but a combination of chips that makes you regenerate both health and energy every time you kill an enemy comes pretty damn close. And while it's true that you have to find these chips first, there is another chip that will straight up tell you if there is a secret nearby, so even that aspect of difficulty can be circumvented. To illustrate how easy the game is, there are 12 upgrade chips, but only 11 of them can be found in stages. I thought that maybe you need to achieve an S rank on all the stages or something to get the last one, but no. You receive this chip by getting a game over for the first time, so I didn't get it until I deliberately lost all of my lives to see what the game over screen even looks like, similarly to how I did it with Felix the Cat. Not exactly what I want from this type of game. The game is also too short in my opinion. There are only 6 main stages and the last stretch is only 2 stages long. Even if you count the tutorial, which I don't, Moonrider still has fewer stages than the first Mega Man game. There are no harder difficulties or other extra modes to extend playtime either, so there is nothing to do beyond getting those S ranks after you beat the game. Finally, there is the story, and while it's a minor aspect of a game overall, as it usually is with Joymasher games, it feels like it leaves too much unsaid. Moonrider doesn't even interact with the actual main villains at all. Oh, spoilers I guess. This guy drops some minimal backstory like that the previous regime was even worse and that he lost his wife during the revolution, but it's still just breadcrumbs. Oh yeah, this guy? I don't think we actually learn his name in the game itself at any point before the credits where they show his voice actor. So overall I have pretty mixed feelings on Moonrider. What the game does well, it does incredibly well. The core gameplay mechanics are a lot of fun to engage with, even if they have some minor flaws to them. But the negatives are significant enough to impact enjoyment of the game as a whole. I think Joymasher should make another game in this style, be it a direct sequel or otherwise, to iterate on the positives and iron out the negatives. At the end of the day, I do recommend this game, but do be aware that it's far from perfect and adjust your expectations accordingly. Thanks for watching, my dear viewers. Sorry for the lack of content once again. Last few months have been really crazy. Keep on rocking and I'll see you next time.